Now, we know how attached Harry and Meghan are to the Sussex name and the Sussex brand, but there's been a report this week that they apparently didn't celebrate Sussex Day. That's upset a few people. What's the story?
Well, it has actually, and I must admit I had a bit of a chuckle because I actually live in Sussex, and I didn't even know it was Sussex Day. So it kind of been this huge occasion that the local mayor is saying it is. Maybe he's trying to drum up some support for the school fairs next year. However, you know, you hark back to when Harry and Meghan were made Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It was a really interesting time. I remember sort of travelling around the county with them. Back in 2008, they did an away day that went really, really well. And that, of course, was the first and last time they visited the county. So, you know, of course, there's going to be discussion about their titles, about what relevance they have to using these titles. And they have, of course, been trading on them. Meghan is, signing notes to her friends with a royal cipher. She's obviously introduced herself as Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, in all sort of her business ventures. But what sort of trade-off is there for the UK and indeed the local county of Sussex where I live? So I'm not too sure we're getting much bang for our buck in terms of the association with Harry and Meghan. But Sussex Day isn't widely celebrated here, I can confirm. But maybe next year they'll pop back. You never know.
But top marks to the mayor for getting the county in the news, I have to say. Now, you have very recently had an exclusive interview with our very own Robert Irwin about why Prince William is the right person to champion environmental causes. What did he have to say to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is absolutely fascinating chat I had with Robert Irwin. Of course, he is a world-renowned conservationist like his late father, and he joined forces with Prince William for the Earthshot Prize in Cape Town last November, which is where I met him, first of all. And having this interview with him sort of enabled us to see the real William, I think. I mean, we had conversations about, their bond over conservation, talking about the environment. I was in Cape Town when he was walking through beautiful scenery with a backdrop of Table Mountain, talking to park rangers about biodiversity and the sustainability of nature. And Robert is actually in the UK this week because it's London Climate Week. He's teaming up with William once again. But he says, the Earthshot Prize is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. And Prince William is really a leading light in this field now. He's very, very diligent. He knows what he wants to affect. Talking about generational change once again that we mentioned at the top of the show. And I think that's really interesting that he's bringing in people like Robert, like other celebrities. We've seen that a lot of the royal family doing that recently. But people who can affect change in their own individual fields. So great, it'll be great to see Robert again this week, I'm sure. And William is a worthy ambassador, I think, for this cause now.
What a great chat. Now, onto a slightly morbid topic, but not necessarily an unexpected one. Look, we understand that the planning for the King's passing is already underway. Now, a terrible topic, obviously, but pretty usual, though, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's look at just the evidence of what we saw with the late Queen Elizabeth II passing, and indeed the planning that goes into coronation. You just need to look a couple of weeks ago for Trooping the Colour. That had 3 rehearsals on the streets of London in the dead of night or the early hours of the morning. I mean, these things obviously take time, and the plans are obviously under lock and key. They're not openly discussed. But of course, the King and other senior members of the royal family will be acutely aware of the need for planning with their funeral arrangements. It's very, very different, of course, to most of us. I mean, most of us won't have to think about that until sort of our later years. And of course, King Charles is aware that he is in those in his elderly years now, but it's very, very different, of course, when you're doing state funerals as well. So a lot of planning, not only for the royal family and the palaces, but for the government, for all the sort of the mechanisms of government that have a part to play. So these things were being worked in the background, but of course no cause for alarm, I think, when you're reading these sorts of articles, because Charles is doing remarkably well. The palace are still saying that his treatment is moving in the right direction, and he's and as I said, he's carrying on quite a schedule at the moment. So fingers crossed that will be for many, many years to come.
But it doesn't hurt to be organised. Thank you so much, Russell Myers.